Go live. Hello. Hello, you guys. We are live. I am just trying to get set up on Instagram. Hello, you guys, and welcome. I am um, on here so late today, you guys. This has been, let me make sure I have some audio. Okay. So we got some audio. This has been such a very long week, you guys, and a lot of new things has been happening for me this week, very exciting things. And so I took a nap earlier because I was just so tired. Um, Hi, welcome. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Hello, beautiful souls. And welcome to the live, you guys. Happy day 15. We made it halfway through this 30-day challenge. I'm so super excited. I was so tired today. I ended up taking a nap, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it home at 10:30 tonight. But God has called me to make sure that I got on tonight because God has called me to restoration. Okay. Restoration and relaxation. Okay. So God has called you to restoration and relaxation, to reset. And so, yay, I'm so excited, you guys. I did not, again, think I was going to make it to this. I didn't think I was going to make it, y'all. I didn't think I was going to make it to show up because God had me transmuting and channeling I'm telling y'all, to materialize this message tonight was probably one of the more challenging ones for me. Hi, Erin. How are you? Tuning in from Cincinnati. Welcome. Cincy. So to channel this message tonight was so difficult because sometimes when you have thoughts in your head and you're living by them, beliefs and thoughts, you just are living by them. But to transmute it and to materialize it to this third dimensional plane, to bring it to the surface, oh my God, y'all. So if this is a disclaimer before we get started on tonight's message, this is a disclaimer. This information that I am presenting tonight, if you don't quite understand it right now, that's okay. This type of thought process takes repetition, right? But God has called me to do the introducing first. So if you feel like, if you feel like after the, the presentation and after the live, you don't quite get it, that's okay. This kind of information takes repetition. And that's what I had to understand when I was creating it. Because I'm like, how can I say this in a more digestible way so that the reader understands what I'm trying to get at? But God said that you're going to have to tackle this kind of thing at every angle so that way they can begin to understand what it is that they're seeing. So God said, don't worry about that. Just get it out there. Just begin the message, right? And so, based on the title, how low self-esteem kept me from utilizing the law of attraction, right? And I want to break it down because I love to do some foundation work, y'all. I have to do it in a way that y'all understand. And we learn by knowing the foundation and the root of where things is happening, right? I've learned that through my healing journey was I always understood more when I got down to the root cause of whatever it was that I was experiencing. So let's get into it, you guys. What is low self-esteem, right? What is low self-esteem? And this, y'all are going to see me unravel this thing. Y'all gonna understand why I'm going through all of these terms, while I'm going through, breaking it down this way, because you need to understand it this way. So that way, you know how to uh, cultivate this same seed in your life, right? So what does low means? Low means below average in extent to something, right? Yesterday, we learned that self meant a covering or trimming of the same material and color as the rest of the item. All right. And today we are learning esteem means to respect or admire or set high value on something, right? So if you have low self-esteem, you are placing God in a lower than average state of regard in your life, right? If you have low self-esteem, you are placing God in a lower than average state of regard in your life. And why did I bring this up today? You guys, the channel has literally grown by 50 new people overnight. So the channel is growing, you guys. I'm super excited. I met so many, and I'm about to say this before I got started with the message. I met so many precious souls today, y'all. Everybody was just so, oh my God, everybody was just so sweet and so kind. Everybody took their time out to listen to what I had to say. I'm telling y'all, every time I approach somebody, I am so surprised by their responses, because um, growing up in Cincinnati, like, people are not, what I've learned as I was growing up in Cincinnati, people are not like, you know, kind and like, that welcoming energy. And so whenever I am out talking to people and they're so kind, I'm like, okay, we got this. So everybody was just so sweet. I love meeting you guys. I'm always so inspired by you guys. I be meeting some really focused, driven people. Like, they got some business about them. Like, I'm telling you, I didn't meet nobody today that didn't have no business about them. So, like, that's super inspiring in itself. So, but one thing that I did learn, and meeting you guys helped me understand how much we all have in common, right? It just shows me how much we all have in common. And so one thing that I did see in similarity to us was that we are dealing with low self-esteem, right? We're dealing with low self-esteem. And this is why I named this video that how low self-esteem kept me from utilizing law of attraction. And so I noticed that this was a common denominator. Not only did I notice that, when I approached you guys, I asked, have you ever heard of the law of attraction? And most said that they heard something, they might have just heard it in passing, or they didn't hear about it at all. And so I have to bring these two messages together, and how low self-esteem is causing us to not utilize the law of attraction, right? And today we're going to break that down. And so low self-esteem is to place God in a lower than average state of regard in your life, right? And we're going to break down how this affects the mind, right? How this can stop you from utilizing the law of attraction, okay? So the objective is to be in a high self-esteem, right? Because we don't want to be in a low self-esteem. We don't want to have God in a lower than average place, right? And so what is high? Greater than normal extent, right? Greater than normal extent. And so to have a high self-esteem is to be in a greater than normal state of respect and admiration for God or your highest self, right? That's very, very, very important, to have God in a high state, a greater than normal, right? State of respect and admiration for God, right? Because where does lowest self-esteem come from? Where does low self-esteem come from? Put down in the comments if you have ever dealt with low self-esteem in your life, just based on me breaking it down and me giving you the definition of these things. But I'm going to try to see if this tea is a little warm. Nope. I don't know what a burn my lips. Y'all, if y'all wonder what kind of tea that is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is very, very good for um, calming the nervous system, putting your body at a state of ease. And like I tell y'all all the time, there is no way you can manifest any kind of material unless you are at a state, your body is at a state of ease, right? The more calm state your body is in, the greater the manifestations can come through. Okay. So ashwagandha can help your nervous system be in a state of ease. So what is God? Okay. Because this is why we have low self-esteem, because we don't even know what God is. Right. And y'all know me, I love me some science. I love science and I love getting to the core of what things are, because that's what I can understand. I can understand the organic nature of who God is. Because believe it or not, we are a people who understand science, because science is the study of life, right? And I hope y'all don't mind me being on here late, but y'all, God has promised me an off day and I'm taking it. I'm taking it and I'm making sure I get on here, because I was not trying to show up tomorrow. Like, tomorrow is my off day. We made it to 15 days and God has granted me an off day. So I'm taking it. Okay. I'm taking it. So what is God? What is God? Are you curious? Put down in the comments. I am curious about who God is. God is a lot of things, right? But we're going to break down some of what God is to us. The creator of your soul. The creator of your soul. God is also the original soul creator, meaning that God is a soul, right? But it's the creator of your soul. But it's the creator of your soul. Right. And this is why we're dealing with low self-esteem, because we don't know why we need to prioritize God in our life. Right. Why we need to have it in a state, a greater than normal state. Right. So we're going to break down why we need to have God in a greater than normal state of respect and admiration. Right. God is also the mental or the mind plane. And these are all things I want you to keep in mind as we break this message down. God is the mental or mind plane. I was talking to one of the Kingdom 1000 today, and put down in the comments, Kingdom 1000. If you have found this channel and I have not reached 1,000 subscribers yet, you are a part of the Kingdom 1,000, meaning that you guys are going to be led to the promised land. Anybody that is close and intimate with me right now are going to get like the most inspiration, the most influence of what God is doing in my life. And so if you are a believer of that, put in the comments Kingdom 1000, because you will be led to the promised land as well. Okay, you will be led to the promised land as well. And if you believe that you are being led to the promised land, put in the comments, I am a part of the Kingdom 1000. So God is the mental or mind plane, right? And I want you to keep these things in mind as we break down this message. What is it made up of? Because that's what we would like to understand. We like, okay, God is a soul, right? Like, but what is the science? What is the science of God? What is it made up of? Right? God, like I said, God is the original soul creator, is a magnet, okay, light and energy, not or, and energy. And if you have been watching my lives, I have been already saying this, but I'm saying these kind of things because these kind of things require repetition for you to understand. And that's what I was telling you at the top of this video, that if you don't quite understand the message, believe me, it takes repetition. Okay. So God, the original soul creator, is a magnet, light, and energy. It is made up of elements that we all use today, such as gold, copper, iron, zinc, steel, magnesium, and so many more, right? This is what God is made up of. Material, right? And so this is the science of God. All right. This is the science of God, because you need to understand who you are. All right. You need to understand who you are. And so God has the ability to provide you with everything that is or which that exists, because God is made up of elements. All right. Everything that you see today is an element. It's an element. If you took chemistry class, you know the elemental periodic table, right? And so all of this is on there. And so all of this is God. All of this is God. So God has the ability to provide you with everything that is. And so you see, everything that's around me is God. Nothing can be made here without these elements, right? So why is this important? Why is this important? Right? Because you need to know that you were made up of the same material as God, or likeness. And that's why I always tell y'all, you were created in the likeness of God. And so you need to know that you were made up of the same material as God. The same material as God, or likeness. Okay? And because you are co-creating with God, you can ask God for whatever it is that you need. For whatever it is that you need. Right? And this is why we're not prioritizing God, because we don't understand what God is. This is why we're walking around with low self-esteem, because we don't know how to prioritize God and why we need to prioritize God. Right? So understand that the desires that you think about has to start off as material first, in order for you to materialize it or manifest it into this 3D plane from God, right? Because like we just said, if you have a desire and you're thinking about something, if you want it from God, you have to know that you're attracting material, because God is material. You're not attracting this thing in the physical form, right? You're not attracting the physical form. You're attracting the material. This is material. Okay. It started off as material first. So understand that the desires that you think about has to start off as material first. It has to be a thought. Thought is material. All right. Thought is material. All right. So because again, you, I, and God is made up of material first before we ever take shape or form here. And so will your desires be too. Right. So if we had to be a thought first, right? Because when your mother and father had you, you were a conception. That's why they say your mother conceived at a certain time. You were a conception, meaning that you were a thought. in their mind first, right? So you basically were material first. Thought is material again, because God is thought. God is the mental plane. All right. Before we could ever take shape, we began to take shape in our mother's wombs, right? As we begin to create ourselves as avatars. And so your desires are the same. Anything you think about or you want to materialize or manifest, they have to start as material first, right? As a thought. So how does this relate to the law of attraction? Because this is what I walked around and talked to people about, and they said they didn't know, what the law of attraction was. And quite honestly, I didn't know how to teach what the law of attraction was, and in a digestible way, right? I knew what it was for me, but to be able to teach it to where you guys can understand it and digest it, right, is a different story. So how does this relate to the law of attraction, right? Because this is what's important. This is what we really want to understand, because this will help us say, oh, that's why I need to prioritize God. That's why I need to have high self-esteem, right? That's why I need to have high self-esteem. So what is attraction? Attraction is a quality or feature that invokes interest, liking, or desire, meaning it's a quality or feature that calls in interest, liking, or desire, right? So you call in something when you like it and desire it. That's what attraction is. Okay. Meaning you will only attract the things you have interest in or liking in from God, right? Meaning you will only attract the things you have interest in or liking in from God. These are the laws. Whatever you like, you shall have. That's the law of attraction. Whatever that you like, you shall have. And so that's why God created you with a soul, because God put the desires for you to only like God. So that way you could attract the best of the best. So the real question is, what is it that you agree with, and what do you consider yourself liking? What do you consider yourself liking? Because the law of attraction is working, but is it in your favor though? The law of attraction is working, but is it in your favor? But we just learned that we can only call in things that we like or desire. We can only attract things that we have interest in. And so what do you have interest in? Because that's what you're going to attract from God. Because God has the ability to do what? Provide you with everything that is, or which that exists. Right? You can have whatever. You can have whatever. You can have whatever. But what is it that you're liking, and is it working in your favor? Because a lot of people like things that don't work in their favor. And so those are the real questions to ask yourself. What is it that I'm liking? What is it that I'm liking? What do I agree with? Because what I agree with is what I'm receiving. So if you agree with drama, if you agree with lack, if you agree with a impoverished mind, if you take on those low vibrational beliefs, God is going to provide you with that, because God has the ability to provide you with all that is. All that is. And so God don't discriminate. You can have whatever it is that you want. And so what is it that you're liking? And so what is it that you're liking? And so now we know why we need to have greater than normal state of respect and admiration for God. why we need to have a high self-esteem. Because if we don't prioritize what God is, because I only want to be in the likeness of God. More magnetism, more attraction, more power, more of all that is. Right? I want to be in high self-esteem. I don't want to place God in a lower than average state of regard. Because if I place God in a lower than average state of regard, then I don't have the ability, right, to tell God what it is that I would like. So if you don't like something about the experience you're having with God, remember God gave you the ability to alchemize, transform, transmute your energy so that God knows how to serve you better. God knew that your energy could not be created nor destroyed. And God knew that you will have times where you were liking things that was not of God, right? The best of the best. You have the ability to attract gold. I only attract gold. I only attract gold, right? I'm a magnet. I'm a magnet. When you go to the jewelry store, they use magnets to determine whether or not if your jewelry is real. If your jewelry is real, right? So that tells you right there that they know the best of the best attracts the best of the best. And so you telling me that they're using God to determine, listen, they're using God to determine whether or not your gold is real. Because they know where it derives from. They know where it derives from. Because we just said that God was a magnet. Right? And so if there's something that you don't like about your experience with God, it's not God's fault. What are you liking? These are all questions you need to ask yourself. What is it that I'm agreeing with? What is it that I say that I'm liking? Because you can like something that's not good for you. I've been in plenty of relationships where I like people and they weren't good for me. So you can like something that's not good for you, right? Something that's not serving you. So what is it that you are liking? Because that is what God is providing. The law of attraction is working, but is it in your favor? But is it in your favor? And like I said, y'all, if this is not coming together for you, know that repetition is key. And you can always come back to this video and listen to me break it down, right? Yesterday, we learned about alchemy, right? And what these things mean. When we bring alchemy and transmutation into our life, we have the ability to tell God now what it is that we want. We don't have to keep, right? We use these specific gifts and talents that God has given us by changing our frequency or likeness, because God is all and will provide you with all, right? Excuse me, y'all. So by changing my frequency or likeness, right, God will be able to provide me with what it is that I want, because God is providing me with all. Because again, God is material. God is elements, and everything here is made up of elements, which is God. Nothing you see here is made up of something that don't got nothing to do with God. And so God will provide you with all, right? God will provide you with all. So the law of attraction is working based on what it is, again, what you believe. Because we just said that God was a mental plane, right? We just said that God was the mental plane. And we understand that God is thought as well. We understand that God thought as well. And we understand that thought is material. And so based on what you're thinking about is what you will materialize into this third dimensional realm. God is 5D, meaning you will have to transmute it down to the third dimension. That's what materialization means. You have to bring it here. You have to have it started in your mind first. And then you had to materialize it in this third dimensional form, right? This is material in form, right? This is material in form. The man, the author, he had to think about this first before he was actually able to create it as a book. This is the form that his thoughts took, the shape that his thoughts took, right? And so when you have a desire and when you have something that you want to do, it must be a thought first, and then you must utilize the law of attraction based on your belief systems to manifest it and materialize it here, right? To manifest it and materialize it here. So the law of attraction is working because you are a magnet that is attracting all that is. You are made in the likeness of God. We just talked about what God was, right? We just talked about the fact that God is made up of everything. And so if you are made in the likeness, who are you? Who are you? And what can you have? All. And so the law of attraction is working, but is it working in your favor? You are a magnet too. You're a magnet too. God is the creator of your soul. God is the original soul creator, meaning God created your soul and you were made in the likeness of that. You were made in the likeness of that. It is made up of elements. You made up of these elements. And so you can attract anything. But what are the thoughts you're having? Because the thoughts, again, is the material. Thoughts is the elements. So when you are attracting, you're not attracting the thing you're thinking about. You're attracting the material, the element of that thing. And so if I said I only attract gold, if that's an affirmation, oh, I only attract gold, then I know what kind of things are coming into form in my life. Only things of high regard, only things of luxury, only things of royalty, because I only attract gold. I only attract the best of the best because those are my thoughts. And those thoughts will materialize in my life. And so this is why you need to have high self-esteem. This is why you need to have high self-esteem, because you need to be in a greater than normal state of respect and admiration for God. Because if you're not, then you are in a lower than average state. And so you will live a lower than average life. You will live a lower than average life because that's what you're materializing. That's what you're materializing. That's how the law of attraction works. You knowing that you are material, attracting material. That's it. Because we talked in previous videos about who you were. You are made in the likeness of God. And so you are energy. And so you are energy, light, and a magnet. And so you are a magnet made up of material that is attracting material based on the thoughts that you are having. And those thoughts will materialize. So again, the real question is, what are you liking? What are you liking? What are you liking? What are you agreeing with? Who are you hanging around? What behavior are you agreeing with? How are you being? These are all questions you need to ask yourself, because these questions will determine your experience you are having with God. Because now we don't have ain't no blaming God for nothing. We now know that based on what we're liking, whatever quality or feature that we're liking, that's what we are attracting into our life. That's what we're attracting into our life. And so now some people may not like this idea because it makes them responsible for the relationship they have with God. See, some people was raised on the thought process that God was in control of everything. No, God understands that it's in a co-creating process with you. It's in a co-creative process with you. And because you are in a co-creating process with God, you can ask God for whatever it is that you want and whatever it is that you need. Co-creation don't mean God gotta, is doing it all for you. Co-creation means that you're doing something and you're responsible for what's going on as well. Right? So by changing our frequency or what we are liking or likeness of something, God will provide us with that thing. That's why you can see people wanting different things, right? And they get it because that's what they like. That's what they find interesting, right? And God will provide. No problem. No asking is too big or small. The universe wants to support it all. Remember that. No asking is too big or small. The universe wants to support it all. And so that's why you can see people living so many different lives and they all talking about God. Because God is the provider of all. Because it's made up of what? Put in the comments, elements and material. Put in the comments, I am material. I am elements. I am made up of everything. And so I can attract what it is that I want because I am a magnet. Put in the comments, I am a magnet. Put in the comments, I am a money magnet, right? I'm a money magnet because you are. Put in the comments, Kingdom 1000, if you are part of the first 1000 members, the founding members of this channel. Oh my gosh, super excited for the first 1000 because you guys are going to literally be led to the promised land. You guys are going to be the ones that are going to be most invested. And when you're the one that's most invested in God, when you see God doing something in somebody's life, you hit subscribe. You just do because you are a follower of God. Okay. So take this information and decide what God means to you, right? Don't take my meaning and values. Define your own relationship with God, because I gave you the foundation of who God is, right? I gave you the science behind God. And like I said, this is something you have to continue to unravel. This one lecture is not going to be like, oh, I understand Some of this information is total, foreign language to somebody who knows nothing about the law of attraction, right? So this kind of information takes repetition. And so if you need to come back to this video a couple of times to get it, then that's what you need to do. But I'm sharing my beliefs. And that's why I said, don't take my meaning and value. You need to go define your own relationship with God. It's okay to take on the beliefs, right? But as far as what God means to you will be up to you. You're going to be responsible for whether or not you are having a high self-esteem. That's going to be your part. That's going to be your part. Based on how you prioritize God will determine whether or not you have high self-esteem, right? Or low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is you placing God in a lower than average state or regard in your life. So if you are placing God in a lower than average state, then the law of attraction is going to work, but it's probably not going to be in your favor. It's probably not going to be in a way where you like, oh, I feel like I'm living my best life, right? And that's what we all want to feel like. We're living our best life. We want to feel like we're thriving. Don't normalize the chaos of dysfunction. Don't normalize the chaos. You're supposed to be here to live a life of beauty. And so that's why God gave you the law of attraction. And that's why God gave you alchemy. So that way you can transform your energy and change your frequency, right? God gave you that ability to change your frequency. If you don't know what alchemy, transformation, and transmutation is, go watch yesterday's video because we break down exactly what these words mean. We break down exactly what those words mean. So remember to take this information and decide what God is going to mean to you and what values you're going to hold on the tablet of your heart for God. A lot of people think that they can live free, and that's the problem. You cannot. You have free will, but you must have something on the tablet of your heart. You must live by something. That's why religion worked for some people, because they have certain laws and regulations and doctrine that they live by. But if you're gonna be a free spirit and you ain't gonna have no religion, you got nothing in your life, you're going to have some kind of values, though. You will have to have some kind of core values and belief systems if you want the law of attraction to really work for you, right? Because that's what we want. We want the law of attraction to work for us. We want it to be working in our favor. So now that we know we are material in form. We've come into form here, right? We were at one point material, right? But we now made it into our form. So our desires are the same way. And so they must start as a thought first. And the quickest way you can put it in form is to write it on a piece of paper, right? It can start off coming out of your mind to a piece of paper. That's why they say write down your goals, because that's the next step in the manifestation process. Writing it out, bringing it into the third dimensional realm, whether it is materialized or not. You putting that to a piece of paper just materialized it. And now it can begin to show up. So if you have desires and goals, make sure you write them out on a piece of paper, because it is magic. Because that is magic. Don't believe me? I have a video I can make where I wrote out my 6-month goals, and becoming more serious about YouTube was one of them. And y'all, I read that the other day. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm telling y'all, this is this right here, what I'm doing on YouTube right now is proof that you must write out your manifestations and your desires first. Okay. So never ever, I don't care who you listen to. I don't care who you go get some information from. Never ever take on their core values. Always define your own relationship with God. I don't care how good it sounds, what they talking about. Always define your own relationship with God or your own relationship with whatever it is they talking about. True enlightenment is when you go research for yourself. True enlightenment is when you go research for yourself because you are living in your own perspective, your own dimension with God. And so you are responsible for what you and God are experiencing. And so if you want to go study who God is, I gave you the basis. I gave you the root work of who God is. So if you want to go study what a magnet is, if you want to go study what a soul is, right? If you want to go study what light is, if you want to go study what energy is, you can begin to expand upon your thought about who you are and how you work, right? If you want to go study the elements, go study the elements. Gold, copper, iron, zinc, steel, magnesium. You are all of this stuff. So if you know what these things are, you know how you are and how God is. True enlightenment is when you go do the research for yourself, right? True enlightenment is when you go do the work for yourself. God is the mental plane. And so if you want to go study the brain, all right, if you want to go study the brain and how it works, you can have a better relationship with God. This book right here, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One. That is a book that's going to tell you how to reprogram your subconscious mind so that way you're not living in the past, right? So that way you're not living in the past. When you are on the path to righteousness, you're going to have to get rid of most of the thoughts you had anyway, because most of the thoughts you have right now is something that's been given to you. You didn't ask for it. You didn't say, I want this thought or this idea or this me liking this thing consciously. That's something that somebody made me feel like I needed to like. But I want to be an individual now. I want to determine what it is that I like on my own, not what the TV, propaganda, the news, whatever, social media has made me believe that I need to like. Get in control of your own reality and say, nah, this is who I am. This is what I want to like, because I want the law of attraction to work in my favor. Now that I have this, Now that I have this information about what the law of attraction is and how I'm doing it, oh no, this is going to definitely be in my favor. I'm only going to say things like I only attract gold. Because that's the only thing I want to materialize is gold. Because I can. Because that's what I'm made up of. That's what I'm made up of. So I can go ahead and attract that because that's what I am. Because I'm a magnet. So I don't have to worry about, no money or nothing, because I can attract gold. Right? I can materialize gold. God can give me that. God is made up of that. That's my first provider. God is my very first provider. Right? God is my very first provider. And I can go get gold from that. Cool. I'm going to attract that. That's what I'm going to think about. Now that I know that what I'm materializing is what I'm thinking about, I'm going to go ahead and think that, oh, I can attract gold. I only attract gold. Now that I know that, that's what I'm going to do. I ain't going to do nothing else. I'm just go for the highest. I'm just reprogram my mind to think that I can attract the best of the best. I'm only going to think like that from now on. That's the move for 2024, right? That's how you should feel. That's what high self-esteem look like. That's what high self-esteem look like. I hold God in high regard. I got much respect and admiration for God because I know who my provider is. Because I know who my provider is. And I know that my provider provides. Because I was made in the likeness of it. I was made in the likeness of it. So of course, if I was made in the likeness of it and I'm just attracting God, come on, y'all, get it together, get it together. If God is all, that's why I say you need to get into a high regard for God. You should only want to attract God, more of God. Don't ask for nothing else. But you got to start knowing what God looked like. And that's why these type of thoughts have to be built, because it's so many levels. It's so many levels. This is just, like I said, this is just a basic level of what the organic foundation of what God is. Of what God is. But now this is what you take and you go figure out what God means to you. And you go figure out what God means to you. And you go ahead and you define your own relationship with God. And you go ahead and you go define your own relationship with God. Okay, you guys. Yay! I'm so super excited. When I met you guys today, I was like, y'all know me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they going to need to hear? What are they going to need to hear? And so I was like, what is it that they need to understand about the law of attraction? And so when I was materializing this, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I think this was probably the longest, because usually I can put together a presentation in like 20 minutes. It took me like an hour. It took me an hour because I was like, I'm trying to take everything that I know about God and like try to put it in a presentation. The hardest, like the hardest thing, the most challenging, let me stop saying hard, the most challenging thing. And I thought I was gonna have to put it out for tomorrow. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research to see if can I bring it, more to where they can understand. But God was like, nah, push through. Even if you got to get on later than you ever been on there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. It really helped me. I know if it's helping me, right? Somebody who's very obedient and stay close with God. I know it's helping somebody who's probably not in that position, but I wanted to say, if you are not in a position to where you are a believer, I want you to know that that's okay, because everybody is on their own journey and everybody will be activated in the moment that they're supposed to. They're going to embody God in their life when they're supposed to. You are on a path, right? And so you will eventually meet up with God. You eventually meet up with God. And so, but if you are in a space, put in the comments, Kingdom 1000. Put in the comments, the Kingdom 1000, because that's where we're on the way to. We're on the road to 1000. But the first 1000 are the founding members, and those are going to be the ones that are led closest to God. And we are going to the promised land. And so put in the comments, Kingdom 1000, because that's you affirming that you're going to the promised land too. Okay. Yay. So the channel has grown, you guys. I'm so super excited. This is facts. This is information. This is receipts about that. If you put your mind to something, we just talked about this. If you put your mind to something, if you put God to something, right? That's what putting your mind to something is. Listen, if you put your mind to something, put God on it, then you can materialize it. All right? Then you can, y'all, don't miss it. Don't miss it. If God is the material, if God is the mind plane, the mental plane, that's why they say you could do anything you put your mind to. Then you can have it, then you can do it. Then you can do it. Right? Okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this message. It's pretty late. I get to go to sleep and enjoy my off day of restoration and relaxation and reset. God is calling you to have a reset in your life today. Okay, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy the live. I will see you guys next time. Hey, hey on Instagram. Hey, thanks for tuning in from New Jersey. Sorry if you're on Instagram. StreamYard does not let me see your guys' comments. So, and you're right. Like I say always, play stupid games with stupid friends. That's funny. That's so true. That's so true. But thank you for tuning in. If you can, come on over to YouTube. You can find me. Let me put it in the comments where you can find me on YouTube at. Oh Lord, look at that. I'm putting the comments before I end this live. You can type this in right here on YouTube and come on over and be a subscriber, be a part of the Kingdom 1000. I'm so glad that you joined. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Enjoy your night. Bye. Oh, not tomorrow, guys. Sorry, Sunday.